Hello and welcome to this first class in this series, The Course, in which we are going to look at not only the courses in the Course in Miracles, but also look at what is the course that I'm following. Is there anything that can be followed? Is there a followed something? So which course are we walking here? And one of the first things that I randomly opened up in A Course in Miracles in the textbook is the meaning of miracles. And that's fantastic. That's the first chapter. And in the first chapter, we have a section that is called the wholeness and spirit. And in there, it was said, whatever is true is eternal and cannot change or be changed. It is impossible that whatever is true, that it is not forever true, and that it is changeable. Spirit is therefore unalterable because it is already perfect, but the mind can elect what it chooses to serve. So your mind, in your creativity, you can choose which course to follow. To follow the course of the spirit, or your interpretations of the associations that you make all the time with things that you recognize from previous thoughts, from previous thought patterns. And I don't want to make this too high level spiritual idea of, everything is perfect and it is applicable just here in this little realm of 20 minutes of talking, but to really apply it to things that come up in the life as you experience it. And that's great because you cannot really be something else than what you are. And only at the time that you are aware, you think of yourself the way that you do. When you're not aware of it, you just follow a course that you have set out, but are not consciously and actively involved with. And if there's one thing that the Course in Miracles is aiming at, is not your understanding of the course that you follow, but the absolute following of what has been given. And that can show up in all kinds of different ways. There's not one particular idea greater or bigger or better than any other. And one of the things that I was, I always like to say, confronted with, I don't know if it's a real confrontation, but one of the things that came up was, so you're talking about your experience in Scotland. I was there a few years ago. But how did you get to that experience? And here's the trick. In the idea, and this is not an idea of myself, it's the idea that was given to me by the master teacher, in the idea of explaining how to get to the experience, you deny the miracle. And you deny that this is a Course in Miracles. Mm-hmm. And you deny that the way that you are is, I would say, not of your own making in that way. You're following your interpretations, or you follow what you really are. And then it's not really a following anymore, because you start to recognize that cause and effect are simultaneous. And then you see that one thing is not leading to another thing. There is, for whatever reason, a choice made, and that choice is right here and right now. Mm-hmm. This is, and whatever else need is in that sense completely meaningless. So let me read one or two more sentences, because it goes into serving two masters. And it's very important that we see in all our actions that the course that we follow is directed by the master that we want to serve. And that's the great thing about the mind. The mind wants to serve. The mind always wants to serve. So what is it that you feed it that it can serve? Listen. The mind can elect what it chooses to serve. The only limit put on its choice is that it cannot serve two masters. You cannot have two thoughts at the same time. And without going into all kinds of physics and science about the impossibility that you can say with certainty the direction or with certainty the location, but never at the same time the two. We see that in our interactions with the world, it seems to be that we act and react, that there is a response of flight or fight, or the third one is freeze. But that in essence, none of that has to be true at all. That we have the ability to choose and to choose once again, not in the same direction, but a course completely out of this world, not guided by something here. And with that, I also actually mean the thoughts that I have. So the two masters you cannot serve. Because by accident, coincidental. Can I say those words here in a spiritual teaching? That one thing might also accidentally also serve something else, but intentionally you have to serve one master or the other. And that's, in that sense, it's fantastic. In that sense, there are no two minds here in this world that think alike. We can agree on a lot of things, and we can coincidentally come from the same neighborhood, same upbringing, and have same political beliefs. But maybe you like Brussels sprouts and I don't like it at all. So we can try to be identical, but in separation you will never find the serving of two masters at the same time in the same location. It's impossible. That's the whole definition of the world, of separation. So the serving of two masters does not go beyond your own idea of what it is. In other words, you believe what you are because you choose so, not because you are, but because you choose so. And this offering here, in the course that we are following, is the willingness to let everything go, the willingness to not hold on, the willingness to say yes, thank you, in the same ease as no, thank you. Because it is not directed anymore by a logical system of progress. Can I say it that way? But that we see that every step that we undertake is the progress by itself, because it contains the whole. It is every single thing we can grab, look at it, hold it, cherish it, and then thank you so much. Have you ever received something from someone, received it completely, saw the beauty and the love within it, and then gave it away, gave it to the next guy. Because that is the transformation of mind that is necessary when it comes from above, streams through you to the next. Or would you like some recognition of your uniqueness and your creativity? Would you like some recognition for your inspirational talks? That you inspire someone is without a doubt the question, and that's the only question that remains, is do you want to hold on to it? Do you want to hold on to the idea that you can do something, but not really do it to the full extent of it? And then when you give up, you will be guided. When you turn your whole life and care over to the Spirit and know that you will never be alone, you will go there where you're guided to go, because He who is with you, great, it says it in the Course in Miracles itself, great powers will go with you now, because you have opened up the door to listening in a completely different way. Is that the course that you follow? Of course it's the course that you follow. And if it's not the course that you follow, it is the course that you want to follow. Because somewhere in me, I know that that's the only way that I find happiness. Not my will, but the will in the biggest sense of what the will represents. And that is a so-called schijnheilig laughter. It is a phony laughing. It is not sincere. But I tell you this, what is sincere? I find joy in sharing, and I don't really care if someone finds that laughable or not, trustworthy or not. My intent is not for an end result, but for the extension of that, what I really am. And for that, we don't need anything. We can just let it go as soon as we recognize it. Because when it is recognized, it is known. And when it is known, it is already mine. What is there to hold on to? Is this too much of an, how do you call that? Mental game? Choice for words that are difficult to grasp, and then hopefully nobody noticed and you can get away with it. I don't know. It's not really up to me to judge any of this. But what I do know is that there is an opening in my mind for something completely different. And that the invitation is always to go there where you previously did not want to go. Because the course of the unknown is only the course of that what you don't recognize. But as soon as it's recognized, it is recognized forever. Truth is always eternal and always true. Otherwise, it would not be the truth. You can the only limit put on the choice is fantastic. You think you have an endless amount of choices, but there is a limit to choice. You cannot serve two masters. You serve or one or the other. It's fantastic. If it elects to do so, the mind can become the medium by which spirit creates along the line of its own creation. So when you open that door, suddenly you see miracles happening through your hands. You let creation create in its creation itself, so that the expansion is as much inwardly as outwardly. What can contain within its idea anything else than the perfection of the idea itself? Everything that comes forth out of it is as perfect as the source of it. Wow. And the only thing that we're asked to do here is to follow the guidance, to look at things, see them go by without an emotional investment in it. Look at the world and let it pass by. Now, some, how do you call them? Some smart kid says the following: God is neutral. God is not neutral. Only in neutrality I can stay in peace. God is not staying in peace because he's neutral. Not at all. He cares very much about you. And the idea that God is neutral is saying, lukewarm is okay for me. Middle of the road, that's fine. I don't know if you ever traveled through the universe, but you will not find neutrality in the universe. It is in caring that you start to give. It is in seeing, maybe not complete, but in seeing that the only way that expansion of mind brings you more than a neutral mind is where you start to give and give from yourself, because you realize you cannot really lose anything. It only gains. And that's where you see that the contraction and expansion and contraction of the universe happens. Now you are always or expanding or contracting. Every idea you ever have is doing one or the other. It serves one master or the other. You cannot serve the two masters at the same time. So your thought is a loving thought or a non-loving thought. And neutrality has nothing to do with that. I would be a little careful with the idea of neutrality. Yes, you're very well possible. You're capable of looking at something without an emotional investment in it. In a very subtracted way, you could call that neutrality. But what if you start to take responsibility and realize that the pictures that show up are pictures that you have chosen, that you choose to see right now and right here? Is that neutral? Is that neutral? Is that the course that you want to follow? Neutrality? Yeah. I'm neutral about death. Oh, fantastic. I'm neutral about life. I'm neutral about love. And that's where you see, thank God for Moses, the idea of good and bad. There is a right way for thinking and a not so right way. I'll leave the word so away. A not right thinking. Because one expands and gives of itself completely, and the other one contracts. What in this world is called fear. Wow. Fantastic. That was the course for today. I hope it resonates on some level. It must, because for me, it changes everything. I thank you so much for being here with me. And who knows, maybe I see you next week again. Amen.